Wow, that was something. Okay, just nice. Uh, Hello, TEDx Covenant University. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and it's a huge honor to be here. I'll just go right into it. Okay. Yes. Okay. In 2016, I took what I would consider the biggest risk of my entire life. And in 2016, I was a 21-year-old boy, uh, shy, timid, very scared. But I had this big vision. I wanted to create a YouTube channel that would reach millions of people. And I said, you know what? The thing I'm going to do is I'm going to invest my life savings, everything I had saved to start a YouTube channel. And it was $5,000 at the time when the exchange rate was still the exchange rate. And I said, you know what? I will invest in camera gear. I will start this thing. But there was a problem. Everything I got, it got seized by customs. And that dream shattered. It's like, they were like, I was like, what do you mean? I've spent $5,000 to get this thing, and you're asking me to pay $1,000 for something called custom duties. And I was broke and $1,000 in debt now. But somehow I managed to scale through that, and I was able to do my studio, get the gear into my studio, okay. I was able to get the gear into my studio, my $1 million studio in Ikorodu, as you can see. And when I started making videos and I started fully committing to this, I left my work, and for lack of a better word, I was unemployed. And you are making these videos, and you're living in your parents' house, and they're just coming, checking in once in a while, and just like, okay. But one day they came to me and they asked me this very important question. Fisayo, when are you going to get a real job? What do you mean we sent you to school and now you're saying, hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel? Like, we invested so much in you. And they were right, because they're my parents, they care for me, and they want to see me succeed. Just make sure that you're not chasing shadows. But the story is different now. I'm standing in front of you guys today. Our channel has over 130 million views. And on the internet, we have over 250 million views. We've had conversations with the Secretary of State of the US, the third highest ranking person in the US executive arm of government. We've spoken with the Vice President of Google, executives like Don Jazzy, the Deputy Governor of the central bank, of our central bank here, and many, many more. And we're the most subscribed technology channel in Nigeria. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to build a personal brand that you are proud of. The internet has changed the way we interact with the world. When I started existing in this world in 1995 was when the internet started getting commercialized. And that was when eBay came, that was when the SSL was being developed, and people could now put their credit cards on the internet and pay for stuff. 10 years later, Fisayo was existing in a world that there was Facebook in 2004 and Twitter was coming in 2006. Today, there's AI, and that is the conversation today. But in 2004, things like social media influencer or social media creator, content creator, social media manager did not exist. I would not be standing in front of you today if it wasn't for the internet, right? And that was how I was able to clear my custom duties. I was working in a role for a company as a social media manager. So, safe to say that this would not exist. Many people wouldn't even have jobs because of the internet, and we've been able to employ over 12 people that work with me. And this is everything I've learned from the past 8 years about how to build a personal brand. If you want to build a personal brand that you find valuable, the first thing I would say is to love books. Make books your first love or second love, depending on your situation, because reading books gives you the ability to stand on the shoulders of giants. You get to form connections. You get to connect things together. And for me, that connection came when I had this negotiation with a brand. And we had this like 3 months deal. I wanted more money. They were like, no, we're not going to give you more money. But because I had read all these books, I kind of knew what to ask for. And for me, it was ask for something else that was more than money, but wasn't money. And they said yes. And it was because I had read all these things. And that's just a very basic example. But this is something that occurs all the time. And I came up with this formula. It's situation, knowledge, resolution, and outcome. A common situation we have here is exams. If you have exams, you are in this situation. You know that if you gain the knowledge, if you read books, if you read everything and study all the materials, the resolution will be that you apply this knowledge, and the outcome will be that you succeed, you pass your exams. Just apply the same thing with books to life and to your personal brand. This was something that I'm so glad I did very early, reading books. And the motto for me was never be idle. Whatever it is, if there's any free time, I'm reading something, I'm taking a course, or I'm learning something. The next thing I'll talk about is showing up. Quickly, I learned that there's a dichotomy between a business brand and a personal brand. For a business brand, it's kind of a logo and a corporate structure. For a personal brand, it is you. And you have to show up. And this was it for me. You are unique, whether you like it or not. And in showing up, for me, it was, let me go back. For me, it was very difficult to stay the course for many years. 4 years into creating content, I was going to stop. I was going to give up. And I wasn't feeling it. I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. But in my head, I always ask myself, why did I start this thing in the first place? And that was what helped me. Remembering your why is something that can help you when you know that you're on this path and you now get stuck. Why did I start this thing in the first place? That was what saved me. And consistency is not just overcoming the challenge and then continuing. It is the feeling. Why should people care about the thing that you are doing? The content you are creating, the job you are working on, why should people care about it? The business you want to start, why should people care? That's the thing that you should always be asking, not just fulfilling some number on a spreadsheet or just doing something over and over again. And for me, that was the real thing. The next thing was process, trusting the process. And in trusting the process, I got to realize something. I've talked about all the good things I've done, all the amazing things, all the people I've met, but that's what everybody sees. Nobody will see the interior, behind the scenes, all the struggles, the pain, and the weeks of production, the weeks of editing. We kind of never show that. But everybody sees the flashy exterior. And the truth is, this is actually what it takes to build anything. You really need to give it 100%. You really need to give it the best you've got. And that is always showing up, always putting the best foot forward. And the truth is, no matter what it is, it takes effort to build anything. And if you combine all these things, you combine learning, you combine showing up, you combine being consistent, it gives you this knowledge. And when you now add confidence, actually, again, like I said in the beginning, I was very shy. Maybe I still am. But when you have knowledge, there's this confidence that comes with it. You know your stuff, and nobody can actually, challenge you on that. When you combine both of them, you become someone that gets opportunities, and you become very valuable. You don't want to just be a guy or the person or a person. You want to be the person, and that is where mastery comes in. It's one of my favorite books. I've read this book like 13 times now, by Robert Greene. And there's this favorite quote of mine. It is that as human beings or any living thing, we're in a constant state of flux. We are always changing, we are always moving. But the moment you feel like you've gotten to that point that this is my desired point, that is when you begin to fail. That is when creativity starts to wane. And you never want to get to that point. To master something, there are two things I want to bring in. It is creative combination and deep understanding. For creative combination, you want to study something deeply and study another thing and combine the both of them together. A big example of this is neuroscience and robotics. There was a lady that pioneered neurobotics, which is the combination of neuroscience, the study of the nervous system, and then robotics, the study of robots, to create lifelike robots. For me, that was design. I was a damn good UI designer. And I combined it with video production or video editing. And I combined it with the fact that I have an economics degree. And I did all these things, and in less than a few months, the CBN was reaching out to me and saying, we want to do an interview with you because of your presentation skills and because of the way you are able to reach people. We break things down in ways that is so easy for people to understand, and that was the value for me. The next thing is deep understanding. Studying something so deeply that you find that point that no one else is talking about, and you become the master of that thing. Because everybody else was afraid to touch that thing. Only you decided that, no, this thing, I'm going to master it, and I'm going to be the authority in that thing. The next thing I want to say is there will be challenges along the way. You also want to ask, why am I doing this thing? Why does this thing exist? Why is it good or why is it bad? No matter the situation, whether you are succeeding or whether it feels like you're failing or whether you're slipping behind, you want to ask yourself why. And remember, I said something about 4 years into this, I was going to quit. But I reminded myself, why did I want to do this thing in the first place? Challenges are like hurdles or, things that you have to cross over. There is no real destination per se. You are still going and going, but you always want to jump over these hurdles. And remember all these things. How are you constantly seeking knowledge? How are you constantly showing up? How are you constantly improving yourself? How are you constantly combining things creatively? It doesn't have to be on a macro scale, it can be on a micro scale. In 2016, I took the biggest risk of my career, of my entire life. And it's the only reason I'm able to stand in front of you today. Without further ado, thank you for listening to me.